Yo, this your boy Lawrence Ray, also known as LRW3, the host of the Talk to Be Nice podcast, and you're about to watch episode 12. Before we begin, just want to do a couple of quick shout-outs. First, shout out the amazing people who came and did this episode with me. We got my man Dante, who's quickly becoming a fan favorite. He's been on a couple of the last episodes, and he shows up and kills it every time. We got Miss Omni, who actually catered this episode of the podcast. The food was excellent. She just opened up her own business. Please make sure you're supporting her, man. Her food is excellent. She's excellent. Make sure you're supporting that. We got Miss Kiana, one of the best locticians in Warner Robins in Atlanta. If you need your hair done, please tap in with her. Make sure you go see her. And then, of course, we got our featured guest today, Mr. Rashad Young, who's put out a crazy tape called Please Forgive Me. We're going to play some of that as well as we have some questions for him during this episode. So make sure if you have not heard it, that you go hear it. Again, Rashad Young, Please Forgive Me. Other than that, we just announced yesterday we have our first ever giveaway from the Talk to Me Nice podcast. We are doing haircuts for children. Those haircuts are being done by Chester Barber. And at the time of this video, there are still spots available. So if your child needs a haircut, please tap in immediately. Let's make sure we get that done. Full disclosure, I take full responsibility for this. Some of the footage from this episode we were not able to use, which is why this video does kind of end abruptly towards the end, just because the end of the video, due to like noises, background noises and things like that, we weren't able to save that footage. I take full responsibility for that, and I guarantee anybody who comes to see me moving forward, we will not let that happen again. But again, I apologize as far as for the end of the video. It does end semi-abruptly, but don't get it confused. We still had an amazing conversation up until the end, which I'm happy to share with you all. So this is Lawrence Ray. This is the Talk to Me Nice podcast. Without further ado, let's get into episode 12. My name is Lawrence Ray, also known as LRW3, and you are officially listening to the Talk to Me Nice podcast.
All I know is shooting. You come to a bitch to feel important. Get your life together properly. I just bought a $200,000 house. Nigga, battle me with property.
You can't buy happiness, but you can buy local, and that's kind of the same thing. Support what supports you. Here at the Talk to Me Nice podcast, we support all local entrepreneurs. Please contact a local business for any and all of your needs. And when you get there, remember to talk to them nice. Please Forgive Me by Rashad Young, currently out now. Go listen.
I don't know nobody, no church, but I be preaching pain. Niggas switched up on me, dog, but I remain the same. I'ma keep it solid, dog, and ain't gon' never change, I've been sitting here wishing that I see better days. I've been going through some things I know I can't explain, but through it all I promise to remain the same. I'm just trying to get this shit up out the mud. Any nigga hate can get this shit right back in blood. I'm really the definition of rad to riches. Been paying attention, now a young nigga out on a mission. Crying out loud and I hope you motherfuckers listen. But how can I keep straight when Satan fucking with me? Shit got me wanna disappear, go fucking missing. Praying someone in the world gon' really fucking miss me. Cause if I would've died today, just make sure that my family's straight. Show my son just how to be a man. Put that nigga in his place. And let him know them same friends that he playing with one day gon' change. And tell him keep it solid, never switch, your son don't ever change. Cause I don't want my son to feel that pain. I don't know nobody, no church, but I be preaching pain. Niggas switched up on me, dog, but I remain the same. I'ma keep it solid, dog, and ain't gon' never change.
So if everybody's good to go, let's go ahead, let's get it started.
D-Mark got that
3, 2, 1. Alright, this is the Talk to Me Nice podcast. I am your host, Lawrence Ray, also known as LRW3. Today I brought some great people with me. This episode is centered around relationships, so of course, I got my people with me. I'm gonna have them introduce themselves, and then before we get started with those questions, we got my man right here. He just dropped the tape. It's crazy. We got a couple of questions we want to start with for him, and then we'll move into the other questions that involve everybody else. All right, so let's just get started. Of course, introduce yourselves. No matter how y'all want to start.
Rashad Young.
I mean, you should be the first one since this is about you. So
I'm Key.
Dante.
I'm Omni.
all right, so as I stated, my man Rashad Young right here, he got a new tape called Please Forgive Me. Just let's start out, man. Let them know where they can find the tape at.
It's everywhere. Spinrilla, Spotify, music, YouTube. It's everywhere. Everywhere you listen to music, it's everywhere. TikTok, Instagram.
It's anywhere. Just so they know, spell your name out too, because I know when I try to look up your name, I was spelling it wrong at first. So in case somebody like me.
It's RASHAD YUNG.
Alright, so how long the tape been out now? About a few weeks?
About a few weeks.
What's the reception on the tape right now?
It's going up. It's going crazy.
Going crazy. Now, somebody wanted to hear your tape, but they only have time for like one song. What's the song they need to hear?
Preaching Pain.
Preaching Pain.
Preaching Pain.
Preaching Pain. I like that. Kiana, what's your favorite song?
Roger.
I knew you was gonna say that. I just knew you were gonna say that. Man, my personal favorite, man, is On Top, like Rainbows in the Morning, and like Preaching Pain. And I mean, I would start saying all of them, but you know, of course, but man, every song is fire, man. You really did your thing on that. But like, what's next then? We got the new tape out. What's your next move on?
I mean, I got 2 different projects. I don't know what direction I'm going on, but the next 2 won't be the auto-tune. I gotta get back to, rap.
Right.
I gotta get back to rap.
So are you gonna be doing some shows, or we just jumping right back in the lab?
I'm trying to cook up some shows.
Oh,
I'm trying to cook up some shows.
Nothing locked in yet, but it's on the way.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, as last time, there are kids here, in case y'all know, so we look away for a second. Alright, so we going right back in the lab. You got any songs for the next tape already, or is still just anything you want to tell us?
It's still, I'm rapping. I'm getting back to my bar. I gotta get back to my bar. I gotta get back to that pen. But that don't never ring.
Now, you ask a song, man. Don't shortchange yourself.
But I gotta get back to the rings. You can do anything. Freestyle, you can make anything sound good. Freestyle, but I gotta get back to my rings, man. I lost that passion for that ring.
That's a fact. So you going crazy right now. $1 million question, man. I personally want to know. You got all these songs coming. What the LRW3 feature, man?
We're gonna get it together soon.
Man, everybody.
I'm gonna be, the next tape I wanna go, man. It's in your words.
That's what I like to hear. Man, tell everybody again, man, where they find your tape, something that they need to know about your tape. Just tell us about you. The floor is on you, man. If you gotta say anything about this tape,
man. When it came to Please Forgive Me, Please Forgive Me is like please forgive me for what I do, for what I don't do, for what I know, for what I don't know. So everything just started off as the beginning started off like this is where I'm coming, and toward the end it's like this is where I'm going. So it's a couple of songs on the tape that I'm like, man, I really said that. But yeah, the tape it's good. You can get it everywhere. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Pandora. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. YouTube, everywhere.
And like I told him, he was on the first episode. Like, anybody seen the podcast know it's been probably about 50 people who have been on here now. I'm just guessing. He was one of the first 3. Before everybody got to see it on YouTube and really see what was going on, he just believed in it. Yo, that sounds dope. I'll come do it. So that's why when he put this tape out, it was only right. Hey, man, you got to come talk about it on here, man. You believed in me when there was no reason to. We got to believe in you now, man. Like I was telling him, there's been a few people who done asked me, hey, can I come, talk about my tape with you? And honestly, I ain't like the tape. So I'd be like, nah, not right now. But you, man, I actually, first off, you supported me and I legitimately like the tape. Yeah. It's only right that we come give you your flowers, man, and make sure that you know that we support what you got going on and really like your music. So that's dope.
That's like Rashad Young to that from customer.
Soon enough, man. And if it don't happen, I know who fault it was. Now, this episode is, of course, centered on relationships. So it's only right so people can understand your experience level with relationships so they can decide how they take your answers. Okay. How many serious relationships have you been in? Just in general. Now, I tell everybody, because the next question usually comes, well, how do I count them? I always say, if I was going to make a movie, these are the people who have to be in the movie to actually tell a story. So, however you decide those relationships, that's on you. But how many serious relationships have you been in? And make sure y'all speaking up to this in case of the kids too.
I'll say 2.
Y'all ain't just competing with us, y'all competing with the kids.
I'll say 1.
Hold on, so we got 2, 2, 2, 1.
No, he didn't say two.
Oh, he
No,
said
he said
Oh, you said four. Oh, she heard it. By the way, disclaimer, they are currently in a relationship. Now, I'm going to say this to make sure nobody leaves here angry. Any questions that need to be answered are from your past. We must exclude any relationship between you all. Just so we clear, nobody's leaving here arguing off. Well, you already, you're going to call him later. So, hey, so about that answer. What was going on there? Boy.
it's already going to be
Well, so, of course, all right, so we established with you all's relationship experience. Who's currently in a relationship sitting here? You know, you married.
It's complicated.
You complicated. All right, so anybody here want to shout out your significant other or give the backstory as to how, you know, you all got together?
You go first.
Shit, crazy. So I went through that dating phase, you know, and I met my wife who, you know, I didn't think it was gonna be serious at first because when I first saw her, you know, when you first see somebody, you're like, okay, she's somebody or he's somebody special. And you know, I was going through my player phase, so I got her phone number, but I didn't put her in my player pool because I knew, okay, we're gonna be serious. I ain't gonna do it like that.
That's a fact. Hey, hold on, I'll make it cut you off. We are guys, we all
Yeah.
got that one. I got like 10, but like I can't. Nah, let me leave her alone. Let me leave you alone until I'm serious. Like, nah, I know it. That's a fact. I felt that, so I was right there with you.
So I got her number, and you know, I was keeping it simple, you know, and I knew I was gonna be serious with her, so I'm not gonna lead her on because I was still kind of in my player phase. And then, you know, we was talking for a couple months, kind of on and off, and then, you know, she moved back to California because her mom was a government worker. And, you know, we were close enough for her to tell me, hey, I'm moving back.
All right, this is the Talk to Me Nice podcast. We took a quick break. We're gonna get you to start your story back over as to how you met your significant other.
Well, you know, we was actually co-workers, and, you know, one day we was closing, and I saw her, and I was just like, wow, you know, and I knew she was the one, so I had to get her phone number, and I knew in the future that we would get serious, so I didn't put her in my player pool. I was still kind of on my player phase, but I was leaving her out of it because I didn't want to lead her on or anything. You know, we talked for a couple months, and then, you know, she had to move, but she trusted me enough to tell, hey, I'm moving. And for some reason, I just felt like she was going to come back, so I looked her right in her face and said, we're going to see each other again. And I could tell she kind of laughed a little bit. And for the next 6 months, you know, she was gone out there. And then beginning of the next year, I had a feeling she was back in town, because I've been here long enough. People, they move and they come back for some reason. So I messaged her and said, hey, you know, and she said she was back in town. And then at that time, I was serious, like I was, you know, done with the player phase, you know. And I knew she was the one, so we started talking, started clicking. And then fast forward a couple years later, we were married 2 years.
Congratulations. Okay, perfect.
Love
All
it.
right.
Yes.
Anybody else want to share their backstory with their significant other or their complicated other or?
Okay, me and this person, we've been together for a year now. We're actually engaged. I don't know.
Hold on, now complicated and engaged don't seem like they go together.
We just had like a little.
So you
break-up
just mad
last
right
night, so
now.
I don't know how this is
It's
really gonna go.
okay.
We're still
Oh, okay.
a year, so we met through a mutual friend, and everything it was great. You know, this is actually the first real grown-up relationship that I've actually been in. So something new, a lot of you know, past relationships where a lot of trust issues, a lot of, you know, men back then, they're boys, they don't know how to, you know, be in a relationship. So this is something new for me and him. He hasn't been in a real relationship at all either, so we're just trying to still learn each other and trying to get through some things. But personally, I don't think it's gonna last. Just to be honest.
On the relationship or the argument?
The relationship.
Oh.
It's more of, to be honest, like.
That's what we here for, talk to be nice.
It's a mentally abusive relationship. So, you know, and yesterday was one of those things where it got to a point where it was almost physical. So, you know, it definitely opened my eyes up to, you know, seeing a lot of things like, okay, this is not it. I deserve way better. So, and just being where I'm coming into my business, I'm like, okay, I can't sit up here and be with somebody like this, and then I'm in the public eye or something like that, and if you hit me in my face, you know, I can't be out there like that. I said, and this could ruin my business when I know I've worked so hard to where, you know, say I started at the bottom, I'm actually, now I'm coming up. So I just don't see it working. I love them, but
No, you gotta put you first.
yeah,
Like, nah.
and my children. So that's just, you know, so yeah, I don't want to get emotional. So.
That's what, if you want to get emotional, trust me, we are prepared for it. After the last episode, we know how to handle emotions. it was one last time. Not to put y'all on the spot. Somebody, again, you all are not leaving here arguing. So decide with caution. Are we answering this question or not?
We can answer. However, as of today, it was brought to my attention that the story is different. So I'll tell you my side. And then
I say every episode, truth is a point of view. So both of you all will be telling the truth from what you were aware of. Remember that. So no arguments.
And be careful with your answer.
Be careful with your answer. Please don't leave your argument.
Yes.
the truth is, no, I'm just kidding. But no, in all transparency, I came out of a bad relationship, and I also went through my dating phase where I was like, you know, dating people, getting to know people, stuff like that. And he happened to come sit in my chair one day because I'm a lactician. And I knew he was coming ahead of time, but I didn't know him. But I knew
Hold on. You didn't fall for the retwist, did you?
No, no.
Y'all know it. Y'all know the retwist.
No, listen. I started his life.
Oh.
But no, I did his best friend's hair. And so that kind of, you know, segued me into it. I was like, okay, he's cute. And I'm not afraid of shooting shots. But, however, I did not shoot my shot. Okay, I kind of shot my shot, but not in the way that he tried to say I did it, and I just didn't appreciate it.
All right, hold on. Well, how did you shoot your shot? We'll let you know
Okay,
right
so
now.
what I did was, first I hit up his friend, like, looking eyes, like, I'm looking at your friend. He automatically knew who I was talking about, and then he was like, yeah, he has to go. Like, you know, boosting me to go ahead and, like, say something. I didn't just hit him and be like, well, I think you're fine, or whatever. I was just like, I don't know if you can see it, but I was like, hey, gingerbeard man, like the gingerbread man. I thought it was witty, I thought it was cute, you know. And he did too, because he was laughing. Okay, it was cute. It was corny, but it was cute. And he can't say it wasn't. And then we just started texting, but I felt like he was working too much. So I didn't think he was paying me no mind, so I kind of just, you know, feel that. And then he came back around, he seen some of my posts, and was like, I don't know if you got your boyfriend application. I was like, oh, do you? Oh, do you now?
Okay, my boy.
So,
Y'all hiring? Okay.
and that's just what it was. So that's my side.
You definitely shot your shot. As a guy, you definitely shot your shot.
How?
Ain't no comment.
Okay.
I said,
Alright, so
I
that's my
said,
side.
yeah.
Okay, so, you know,
She just
I
threw the ball. That's all.
I was like, okay, I want to get my hair locked. And my best friend was like, well, go to this person. I was like, okay. But I waited months and months. I was like, let me see her work.
Yeah, it was stalking.
So I was like, okay, let me book this appointment. So I booked the appointment. And now I was looking, I was like, oh, okay. But I wasn't going to shoot my shot, because I was like, oh, she might shoot it down. But I was go sit and have to go see somebody else check. So then, I think what, a couple of days went by, and my best friend hit me up like, somebody watching you. I was like, what you mean somebody watching me? He said, Key. I said, oh, what about it? She's like, I'm talking, she gonna shoot her shot. I said, tell her to shoot her shot. She shot her shot. So, you know, I didn't play it no mind, because I was like,
You definitely shot your shot. As a guy, especially, now he was interested before, that's clear, but he was like, I don't know. You, by even doing that, he now knew, hey, if I try it, I'm probably good. You now gained the confidence. Yeah. So you definitely started.
So opening the door was shooting a shot.
Most of the
That's what
time,
I said. I just feel
with
like
me, most of the time,
See what I'm saying?
if a woman
He
shoot
shot
her
the
shot with
There you
me,
go.
well, most of the time, if a woman shot her shot with me, it's like, I have to look at it like, okay, what am I finna gain from this? It's like, I've been through that whole, you know, player stage. it ain't fun, it ain't cool. I try to do it in my past relationships, and you know, it ain't cool. So like I chilled out, you know, I talk to people, chit chat. I call it chit chat. Like I'm good at like, okay, I'm not interested. I just leave it with it. But she was so thorough, consistent. And I was like, okay. So when I looked on her Facebook page, she was like, well, I'm taking boyfriend application. I said, let's see. Let me get the application. But the crazy thing is, she sent the application.
Literally did a Google form.
She literally made the application.
You made an application. What was some of these questions on this application?
You know, are you an introvert or extrovert? What's your love language? What's your favorite feature about me?
Did you literally like fill it out?
Man, I feel that though.
I like that.
Cause I was like, if I'm finna win this shot, I gotta go all in now. It's too late. I done already shot my shot.
Now you used to be a teacher. Did you grade it?
I did.
Oh yeah, I was.
What did you score on it?
He got an A+. Oh man.
That's cute. I like that. I like that.
Yes.
Well, you definitely shot your shot. One, because you put it out. You shot your shot by reaching out to the friend. It now became official. And you did all your research. So once you put it out there, you didn't play the waiting game. And I know for a fact you did your research. I'm not gonna say how I know you did, but you definitely was waiting. So it's good that it eventually came.
She was just looking at the stats. She was.
That's all she did. Background check, you know, that's the baby.
And she knew what she was doing. She put it, I know he gonna see this. I'm just waiting on it. And then you fell right into it.
Like,
But
she asked me if I was like dating. You know, some people got a different definition of dating. You know, you can be talking to somebody or talking to multiple people. I'm just going wherever anything take me. You know, I can't say if I'm dating or not. I don't know if I'm dating or not. So, and then I don't know. I stopped talking about a couple of weeks. You know, started communicating with her for a couple of weeks after she shot her shot. That's when I seen that boyfriend. That it was like a point where I was looking. I was like, okay, she. Let me see what I can do. Then that boyfriend thing popped up. Boyfriend application. I was like, that's the opportunity right there. That's the perfect shot.
No, I'm happy for y'all. Especially her right there. She know me and her, man, for years. I've been kind of like her behind the scenes mental. So
what they going to say? Young Dezynz.
Well, so I can see her happy makes me happy because I know the journey she's went through and how difficult she is of a grader in men. So the fact that she chose you does say that speaks to you and your character. So that's dope. That's dope. Now, that's nice. Everybody's feeling good. Let's be honest. In any past relationships, clear over here. Nothing about you all moving forward. Were you ever the problem?
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
What's that certain extent?
Because I didn't place clear boundaries, I held a lot of things in and I became like resentful, and instead of walking away, I kind of just let my insecurities kind of just shine. Instead of just walking away, I would pick fights and, you know, I just made it really difficult. And when I really just could have just walked away. That's really how I would say I was the problem. And I realized that from self-evaluation. Because sometimes, you know, when we go through stuff, let's just be honest, like play the victim, like this. But at what point during all of that did you decide that you were worth more and you should have walked away? So that's why I said out to a certain extent.
Okay. I don't want to be good. You know, I'm not trying to be that guy. Not typical man. Like, I wasn't into my relationship. I was into like, oh, she hit me up, let me chit chat with her. And you know, that spiral, it go bad quick, especially when the woman find out. And I was like, okay, now you gotta go through trust issues, the arguing, fighting, and it just go bad. And now since I'm gonna learn from it, I don't got time with it, man. I don't like dealing with people in my day to day. I can't deal with it. My relationship was turning into 2 different big packages. So I just had to really sit back and like, you know, there's things I could fix about myself as a man, you know. So if I get in another relationship, I know what not to do. So, right.
Okay. Self-evaluation. Anybody else? Were y'all ever a problem?
I don't think. I say like her same thing, but like to a certain extent, because I feel like in so many ways, women knows when their instinct, it hits them, but they're like, trying to push it away. You see little red flags and different things, but you're like, nah, not really.
We are back yet again. We love the kids here at the Talk Be Nice podcast. Question we were on was, y'all help me out. The problem still on who's problem?
Yeah, the problem.
You were talking, correct?
Yes. I feel like at a certain extent, yeah, I might have been the problem, but I feel like, you know, insecurities might have came, but I feel like, you know, I try to be the best woman that I'm, you know, supposed to be. I just look at my parents, they were married, so I just look at my mom in different ways, what she did to make her husband happy. They're not married now, but, you know, I feel like, no, not really, so.
I think I just tried too hard to change someone's view, because my first serious relationship, I was dating an Ethiopian woman, and it took me a while to realize that based on their religion and their beliefs, they only date either white or Ethiopian. Even though they're black, they look at, you know, me, I'm half black.
That cultural thing.
Yeah, they think of black people as inferior, even though they're from the same country. So I was trying for 2 years to force it, you know.
Yeah, it just wasn't there.
And it just hit me, you know, I saw a documentary, you know, there's a Ethiopian trying to date a black person, and the brother was literally trying to kill that guy for dating there. So I was trying too hard to force cultural change on someone who was raised in that, you know, mindset. So.
I think I've been a problem as well a few times. I think sometimes I'm too logical to a point that I forget the emotional side of things. I can admit that at this point. Like, I'd be like, yo, that don't make no sense. Sometimes it don't need to make sense. That's just how they feel. But for a while, that disconnect was I admit that I've been the problem. Now, so we all acknowledge that we've been a problem before, that's fine. And I just thought of this question when one of y'all said this. How does, like, relationships that you see, whether your parents, sisters, brothers, cousins, whoever you see around, does that kind of affect, like, growing up when you seen those, did that kind of play a part in what you do now?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely, because where I am now, I'm 27. Only now am I content with, like, relationships kind of taking their course and being as long or as short as they need to be, because ever since I was 18, like, my parents have been married now for almost 30 years, if not 30 this year. So from that, they got married at 19 and 20. So that's all I saw was, I need to get married young. So when 18 came, I was like, I had a baby, but I didn't get no ring, you know. Then 19 came, I didn't get married. 20 came, I didn't get married. So for a very long time, a lot of my 20s, I wanted to be married, not more so a wife, not more so having a genuine companion or a healthy relationship. I just wanted to be married because that's all I saw. We're talking about how you and your parents or people around your relationship have impacted your, I guess, viewpoint on relationships or, you know, stuff like that. So I was talking about my parents.
You talk about yours. Anybody else care to add anything about it?
Same thing with her. My parents have been married 36 years, and you know, growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was, you know, taking care of everything, you know, the provider. So going into mine, I thought I had to be like that. So it took me a real long time to kind of open up and say, hey, you know, it's okay for you to, you know, do your thing. You know, we're in a different time frame. Back then, they had laws where women had to stay home or follow certain criteria. So a lot of times, I try to emulate my parents' marriage, and I realize that stress that it caused. So we've been working on being more open, you know.
Okay.
I feel the same, you know, looking at my parents.
Oh, you did just tell us that.
Yeah, they were married for 39 years. Well, 29 years. And me being a child then, not really, you know, now that I'm an adult and me being in a relationship and I see certain things, I'm like, okay, their marriage looked like it was like the best marriage, but you know, after a while when you become best friends with your mom and they start telling you certain things like, well, you know, this is why, or you know, it was like this, and I see like my mom, I'm definitely like my mom with she goes over and beyond. Like she was sitting there when we were younger, me and my brother, and they were both in the Marines. They did 20 years, and she she was ironing his stuff, like the starch, like I'm with the hat and everything. They didn't take their stuff to the cleaners like that. She was doing all their stuff, plus her work, plus asking him, what do you want to eat for dinner, and all this stuff, having his clothes laid out, having dinner ready when he gets home, everything like to a T, to where I'm like, okay, like, is this how I'm supposed to be? And when I'm sitting there doing that in certain relationships, I'm like, these people are not appreciative of what I'm doing for them. So it's just, you know, and then I look at, you know, now I'm sitting here and I look at John, I'm like, and it's like, hey, I wish I had a relationship like that, because y'all just look so cute, and just how y'all talk, and just, it seems like just a breath of fresh air.
That is beautiful. Let me ask y'all this, because I always say a relationship don't start till the first argument. Y'all had y'all first argument yet?
We had a disagreement.
We're gonna leave it there. So we about to start an argument if they had an argument. Alright, y'all had a disagreement. Nothing else to ask about that. Alright, next question. Describe traits that you look for in a partner. Now this don't have to be physical traits, it can be, you know, mental, whatever you looking for in your partners. What is it?
You know what I can say? Think about Ki. She is serious about dating and relationships. And the problem is you don't get that. Most women will talk to you and think, okay, I can give him this, I can give him this, I can give him this. And I can probably get him. But I overthink so much. It's like, this ain't working for me. When it came to her, she would question. But it wasn't like no crazy question. It was a real serious adult question. I was like, yo, she knows what she wants. And I have to answer this. Like, I know what I want. And she's real big on transparency. Like, be real with me, I'll be real with you. And I'm not, as guys, I don't think we used to that from hearing that from women. You don't ever hear a woman tell you, just be honest. Just be honest with me. It's always be honest after the fact of the lie could be. When she say be honest, it's like, she asked me a question, I'm like, oh my God, I don't actually put you out to be honest, because that's what she said. But that's cool.
Yeah, when you say be honest, a lot of women don't really want honesty. They want the lie, but in a way that I can't. Like, you can lie to me, just make it sound weak, put a little effort in there. So to hear a woman actually want.
Look at me in my eyes when I ask you this. I'm like, and she could just be asking me, so what you want to eat? But it's like, to tell me the truth. And I kind of like that.
Okay, but just so y'all know, when I ask these questions again, they're not about y'all. So when I say like traits, yeah, like looking back, if you want to talk about each other, you can. But again, if an answer one of y'all don't like, keep in mind it was before you.
Right.
Nobody better be arguing when they leave here about this. So, anybody else, what traits do y'all look for in a partner?
I was looking for a woman who's ambitious, loved to travel. Because, you know, looking at my parents' marriage, you know, you think they've been married 36 years, so and so, but it was the same thing. My dad just got food, went upstairs, and stayed upstairs the whole day. My mom just sat downstairs all day, so there was this disconnect between them. That's why they always wanted me to come over, because I was like that.
Yeah,
I was like that middle person that kind of bridge that energy, you know. Every time I did come over, they say, hey, you know, how come you don't come over much? I'm just like, I got a wife, you know, shit to do. So I was looking for a woman who was ambitious that kept pushing me, because my dad was a little complacent with a lot of stuff. And definitely a woman who loved to travel, because I've been in this town since 1999. Ever since Prince came out, Mystical was around.
About to go.
And you know, she's from California, Vegas, so she used to that busy lifestyle, so that's exactly what I needed. Because my parents never traveled. They ain't been out of Georgia since 2006. And my brother never liked to travel, so I was that one person that wanted to travel, see what the hell's out there.
Right.
You know, so but that's why one thing I love about my wife is she loves traveling, going places. I'm like, cool, let's do it.
That's dope. Anybody else? Again, just so y'all know, everybody's not required to answer every question. If some question just ain't really you want to answer, you ain't got to. We can all just keep it moving. Don't feel required to answer anything. Anybody else want to add to this as far as traits they look for?
I do. I'll say what I looked at past tense, and then what I became, well, what I started to look for. I honestly, because growing up, like we just talked about parents and how their relationship kind of framed how we view relationships. At one point, my mom was also a stay-at-home mom. She didn't start working until I went to the 6th grade. And literally my dad just took care of everything. So for a while, I thought the same thing. Like, I want to provide. Like, I want somebody that's going to provide. They're going to pay the bills. I like nothing. But then, like you said also, we're in a different time. So I don't want someone that's just going to financially provide for me. I want, you know, a partnership. I want somebody that's going to support me in what I want to do with my business. And honesty, like Cam said, like literally honesty is the biggest trait that I have always looked for. But like you said, Ray, it's like, as a woman, in the past, I wanted you to say it, but like, don't hurt my feelings, you know. But now, like, give it to me raw, like, just be real, just come out and say it, and then let me decide how I want to deal with it. Honesty and transparency, just they go hand in hand. Of course, loyalty is the biggest thing, and that can go. Loyalty and monogamy are not the same thing, and I learned that last year. They're not the same thing. A lot of people feel like they are synonymous, but they're not. You can be loyal to a friend, but that doesn't mean that you are, you know, monogamous. You're not your only friend. You have other friends. Like in a relationship, you can be loyal to someone. You can be compassionate. You can be supportive. You can be, you know, everything to them. But if you go out and you know, create another connection with somebody else, that's no longer, there's no monogamy. Yes. So those are the two biggest things I would say beyond honesty that I really have looked for and now look for in a relationship.
Okay, so I like those traits that y'all brought up. Now, this question, you know, if it's kind of the same thing to you, then of course don't answer, but what are your non-negotiables in a relationship? Like, we know what you look for, but what's something you just not tolerating?
Moving forward, definitely infidelity. No. In no way, shape, or form. I know everyone's definition of cheating is different. I have, like you said, I grade men hard. My definition of cheating is my definition of cheating is a long list of things. Oh, if you do that, you're cheating. Yeah. You do that, you're cheating. You breathe around her, you're cheating. Like, you know, no, that's a non-negotiable for me. I will walk. Like, that's the biggest. What? You didn't die?
I just said, excuse me. I'm just trying.
A gentleman opening up the door.
Absolutely.
She can hold her own though. Let's go.
For real.
Oh. All right. Anybody else got non-negotiables they want to share as far as? I think cheating probably will be the main thing. Now, let me ask y'all this. It wasn't even the next question, but it is now. So everybody's saying cheating's a non-negotiable. Who's taking somebody back after they cheated?
I have. Yeah, definitely.
So if that's a non-negotiable, why did you take them back after they cheated?
That's why I said moving forward, meaning from here on, from that relationship on. But the reason why, and again, full transparency, the reason why I took them back, which was so crazy to everyone around me, because I have graded men hard for a very long time. Like when I took that man back after cheating on me, my friends were literally like, excuse me, you have left men for less. Like, you took him back after cheating, but in my mind, all I saw was like a non-existent future. Like, I just kept looking, okay, yeah, this happened, but we're gonna have a house on the hill, and he's gonna provide for me, and we're gonna have a family, and I just kept seeing the future instead of looking in the present, and that's why I took him back, which I shouldn't have.
Because again, I like this, because we just stopped the course to deal with the kids. So this next question makes perfect sense. When should kids be introduced to your partner?
Because
again, I will.
See, I got kids by two different women, right? And they're two different women. You know what I mean? One of them probably wouldn't care me, but one of them I told them respectfully for you, before I introduce my child to somebody I'm dating with, I would make sure she puts you first. You know, I don't know the time frame or the span of time that will happen, but I said
3-4 months after y'all start dating. Because I've seen like conversation with people, like even the podcast, this came up a few times, which I probably why I asked the question. Like one girl said she was turned off when a dude, like, they just started texting. He was like, yo, I want to meet your kid. She's like, what? Too soon.
yeah.
So,
I like that, yeah.
but at the same time, I seen a flip side when a girl was like, yeah, he never really like said much about my kid.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I'm kind of like that I'm like I don't want to be under your kid, because that's another relationship. And that's, kids attached.
It's serious.
That's a serious attachment that you get to kids, and then you with somebody for 2-3 months. And you always around that child for 2-3 months. It's like, okay, if y'all end up not together, you not only throwing the child off, you giving them they ain't gonna know, like, okay, with this guy.
Now the next one coming.
You don't keep bringing them through.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I be like, I'm just like, I always say like, whenever you want to do that, then I'm not a pressure person. Like, I'm not gonna pressure you. Let me see your kids. Because it's like, I got my kids on my own, and it's like, I know how my children is, and I know what they been through. So it's like, when you ready.
I would say it's different for, in my case, I speak for me, but for some of the other single moms, because we don't always have like a reliable, babysitter. So we may have to do family-oriented or kid-oriented activities.
Group days.
Activities, right. But moving forward, again, from my past relationship, I do feel like I introduced my son to him a little early, and that caused him to have a really big, full and just heavy relationship. So where when we broke off, it was really hard for my son to let go, and I made it, a note in my mind to just not really introduce him to men that were in my life romantically, but be like, oh, this is my friend. So like I said, I went through a phase of dating, and I may have dated or gone out with men that have had kids. So we did the group date thing, but I'd be like, hey, this is my friend, knowing that we were, romantic, but it was never like an exclusive commitment. We were dating, so I was like, this is my friend. And so it was no pressure on that. Same with, I know you said when I talk about, but Noel knows that I have a boyfriend. He does not know who my boyfriend is. Like, he just walked past me today because I didn't, make that correlation, because I'm not ready for dating.
Yes.
I'm just not ready for dating.
From a guy's perspective, like, I've kind of been on both sides of it. And I'm not gonna lie, as a guy, nothing is more awkward than like kind of being forced on a kid.
Yeah.
Like, cause I've been in both where I've been forced kind of on a kid, and then I've been in one where like, no. But I will say, as a guy, nothing is more unattractive than when you have a child and you always available. Like, I done had some conversation with females, like, she'd be like, you wanna see me? Okay, cool, tomorrow. You wanna see me? Alright, maybe. Okay, cool. you want to see me? Hey, it's a school night. Like, I just stopped talking to a girl one time. Like, yo, where your kids? Oh, they was at the house. My friend there. Like, to me, that's the most unattractive thing when you don't take care of your kids as a female. Like, now don't get me wrong. Both sides, like, sometimes you got that girl who always got her kids. Like, damn, you ain't never got no time. But it's another one where it's like, damn, you got too much time. To me, that's a bad sign. Because if you always can get away from your kids, if you ain't loyal to your kids, you ain't loyal to nobody. So if you ain't worried about seeing them, sooner or later you ain't gonna be worried about seeing me. So that's I've had single moms, and I love kids, so I don't mind. Like, it's like podcast, people like, yo, can I bring my kid? Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, don't want to mess my footage up, but other than that, they can come hang out. I don't care. That's why I got all this stuff here for them, so they can have fun. But like, so I've been in situations where like I meet kids, but I don't never be like, trying to play daddy or nothing. I'm just hanging out. Like you just said, yo, we'll go out. You don't need to know, like, I go out with them. You don't need to know, like, me and Mo got nothing going on. And I keep that respect. Like, I don't be doing no extra in front of the kids, like, to keep that certain thing. And you don't need to know all that. But yeah, that's a topic I love to hear. People's like, when it's too soon, but then if you miss that, like, perfect area, now it's an argument because they think you don't like their kids. This podcast is gonna be named "We Love the Kids." we love the kids. We are back with the Talk to Me Nice podcast. We were talking about when it's too soon to introduce the kids. You brought up a point. I already had this question, but let's see. Do you owe your co-parent the respect to meet your new partner?
No. If they're absent, no.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if they're absent, that goes without saying. You barely meeting the kid. What you
well, honestly, I wouldn't even say just absence, because this happened to me last year. When my ex, we had been together about 2.5 years, but my son is 8. So 2.5 years, he was the male figure in my son's life, and his dad was absent until last year. So he came in, and it was like a weird phase where you know, it was hard for my son that I just like, okay, he been here, he been feeding me, he been in the house, but this my dad. And then with his dad, like, I didn't really feel it was necessary to be like, hey, this is my man or whatever. And they kind of met each other on his birthday. I didn't know that his dad had come over. I knew he was coming. I didn't know that my now ex was coming over for my son's birthday. And he saw him there and it became, you know, a thing. And whereas with my man, he was like, okay, I knew he was coming, but I didn't know I was going to feel like this. And then with my ex, my son's dad, he was like, I ain't tell your boyfriend was coming. And I'm like, why did I need to tell you that? You know, you've been absent. I just didn't feel like it was necessary to give him a heads up because, like, you're just now developing a relationship with him. I don't feel like I really owe you that, you know, that I don't even gonna say respect, but that courtesy. It was courtesy. So.
What you feel
For
different?
me, because I'm a male, so my kids are with their mom. You know what I mean? So it's like, I know, you got kids. You know how moms get, like you said, nah.
Yeah, dude, you
it's
know what's
like,
going on.
Because I want to see my kids, so, you know, if I'm dating, she got to know who the kids around because you don't want no problems because you can go bad real quick.
For my personal experience, man, like I speak from my experience, I necessarily, and it just go back to co-parenting, like, if you all have a good co-parenting relationship, which is why, like you said, they absent, y'all don't have a good co-parenting relationship, that's just kind of straightforward. But if you have a good co-parenting relationship, in my experience with mine, it hasn't really ever became a problem because we so good that when you have a good co-parenting relationship, that means you got good communication.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. Yeah. So most of the time, they'll just be like, hey, man, I'm dealing with so-and-so, like, you want to meet them? Like, no, not really, because we co-parent so well that I'm able to trust your judgment that, like, I don't need to meet your guy because I already know you wouldn't have somebody around that don't need to be around. Right. We good. I'll meet him in passing if he just happened to be there when I show up. Something like that ain't that serious. And they give me the same respect. You know, when we're doing our own thing, they're like, yeah, I don't need to meet all you. You know, I don't need to meet your hoes, basically. They're good. I'll meet them at the wedding if they get there. Other than that, we don't need to talk. But like what you were saying, like with somebody like, because for me, I was raising a child since he was 1. I'm not doing birthdays. I think he's like 7 now. So for like 6 years, never met his daddy at all. So never knew who his daddy was. Then his daddy came back like last year. And again, I've been feeding this child. I've been clothing this child, like calling me daddy, all that. Then his pop show up. And I think that's that weird thing his dad just tried to come back and be too assertive. Right. And that's the thing, like as guys, first off, you should have been in your kid's life regardless. I don't care what's going on. I don't know about y'all. I don't have no homeboys who don't take care of their kids. We not homeboys. That's right, it. Yeah. But if by chance you have a homeboy like that, you need to let them know. It's great that you came back because I always want his pops to come back because no matter what, you can have a male figure around. That ain't your daddy though. Like this is some things that like kids get directly from their parents that I can teach you everything, but I'm not like I don't have your genetics. There's some things you need to talk to your daddy about. So I always wanted that relationship, but I think. And I don't know, because me and him never really had a direct conversation. I think maybe he thought that, I need to come in and insert myself as the father now, which you didn't, because I wanted you to be the father. Like, this is you. I'm cool being, you know, just extra. I fill in what I fill in, even though I've been doing this 6 years. That's what I want to happen. So he came in a little bit too strong, and now that relationship is already strained because you came in trying to prove you the daddy, and the kid, well, he been my daddy the last 6 years. So you coming in trying to tell him what to do, but kids like, all right, you tell me all this and that, but you know, kids know you ain't really been doing what you trying to make me do.
That kind of like how I got going on right now.
Yeah, so it's one of those like.
Yeah, like I always knew I had a son, but the relationship was so bad with his mom. Mm-hmm. Like it ended up getting, I don't want to get into it, but it was bad. Everybody literally played it like, okay, this ain't. But I always say that with my son. And now I'm getting back around my son. It's like, okay. I'm so used to my daughter, you know. But I'm gonna end up getting married, moving away. My daughter was gone for 5 years. Came back last year. My son, I tried to get everything back right with him too, and everything went bad then. He came back around last year, so it was like I was heavy on key, pick you up, let's go do. But I was like, I talk to him because they both look at another male like daddy. But my daughter knows I'm her dad. My son knows I'm his dad. But it's like, it was times where like, I felt like, man, these kids don't even know me as daddy. Like, I'm sick of daddy, you know? And they beat me up for a long time until I realized, like, they mom was happy. They ain't really bothering me. Everything good. And now all of us, I ain't gonna say we got a best relationship where I can be like, hey, what you doing today? But we co-parent pretty well, I feel, you know? So like, when it comes to that whole kid thing, it's like, you see dudes or you hear stories about dudes, like, it's never about the kids, it's always about the relationship. It's never about the kids, it's always about the relationship. And it's like, you gotta put forth that effort. Like, if you talk to somebody with a child, like, when that time comes for you to be like, okay, you the other parent in this child's life, you gotta put forth that effort to like, all right, teach them, help them go get some understanding out of them. So that's why I look at it like, I see relationships and kids different. That's why I say like, I have to give my child a mother that respect to be like, all right, this is the woman I'm dating. You know what I mean? Because you don't want no problem. Everything good, you want a problem. And I'm also about respect now. It's like, I have to respect my son, mother, because you don't want to bring somebody around. Like, you might be around that person, but you ain't never brought your kids around. You don't want to be like, why they so ill will to my child? Why they brushing my child off when they want? Can I sit up under you? Can I? Because they chocolate.
I'm big on that.
Like, they just want to love on you.
They just want to love you.
I love the kids. Like anybody I ever talk to, like even when like, now don't get me wrong, I don't mean just calling my exes randomly and stuff. But like if I was around your kid for a long time, we may not speak. I might even call you, but like birthday, I remember the kids' birthdays most of the time. I might cash app you, hey, go get them a toy. You ain't got to tell them it's from me. Just things like that. Just so when you do involve yourself with a kid, man, just keep in mind when it ends. If you know, if things end bad, then nah, you might be done. But if y'all still cool, think about that. You know, when you dealing with these kids. Now, money or romance, which one you want more? If you picked a mate.
Oh wait, within your relationship.
No, if you had to pick somebody, are you picking the money?
Oh.
Or you picking the romance?
I'm picking the romance now, where I am now, because I had a man that had the money and treated me shitty. You know, there was no. He admitted he's not romantic. He didn't do small gestures like buy me a Hallmark card and make me cry. You know, he didn't buy me flowers until after we broke. He didn't do any of this. He was not romantic. He didn't really court me and give me what I needed. He didn't feed my soul. You know what I'm saying? He didn't cater to my love language, but he had the money. He could cash out me $200 for me for nothing, $300 for nothing. He'll pay bills, but he was not romantically like present. And I don't want that. Where I am right now, I'm not saying I want a man that's just broke, you know what I'm saying? But I want the romance. Like, I want to be able to spend time and really foster and build a true relationship. I want the, hey, I'm just thinking about you calls. You know, I want the, oh, have you eaten? I'm about to bring you lunch. I want that. I would prefer that over a man that could just throw money at me. Because then that's the way he always like he control me. He gonna throw money and do whatever he want to do. And someone that's truly romantic, like they're doing it from their heart, they want to do that.
I think guys with money sometimes fall victim to that. Money does not substitute being thoughtful.
No.
But I think a lot, and I'm not gonna lie, I done fell victim to it a few times too. Like, man, it's a birthday. I'm just gonna send her some money. Go buy what you want. You could have took that same money and just go bought her something. It's just the thought that it don't matter. You could have sent me $1,000. You could have bought me. You could have bought me something for $100, and I probably like that more. That's the thing. Like I fell victim to it too. I'm not gonna lie. What about y'all? Money or romance? Everybody picking romance?
Right now, I want romance. Yes.
Because I can make my own money.
Yeah.
The music, you know, the music can pop off, and I'm bringing my own money. I don't care about nobody's money.
Now let me ask y'all this. I love this question. I probably asked this question 3-4 times on the podcast already. Cause it's such a crazy argument every time I see it. Are you splitting rent with your significant other?
No.
Ooh, this is the first time I think most of the time they give me the, oh yeah, I'm willing to. This is the first time I got a no.
When we were talking about this earlier, I was sitting over here just like, oh, please don't ask. Cause I ain't gonna, but this is my mindset.
We here now.
This is my mindset. And I had to break it down like this to a couple of guys I was dating, because they didn't understand it. When I broke it down, I was like, dang, you said like that, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Hear me out. you're in a partnership or relationship, right? Back in the day, the man goes to work, the woman keeps the house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind keeping the house, but again, where I am personally, I have aspirations for myself, and it don't require me being a housewife. That's not to say I'm not gonna take care of my duties, but I'm not gonna be home every day to cook a meal. I'm not gonna be, vacuuming every day, stuff like that. But the life that I aspire, I'm gonna be traveling, I'm gonna be working. I may hire a nanny, I may hire a housekeeper, I may hire a cook, because that's a life of luxury I aspire for myself. So, the only bill, so let me be very clear, the only bill I will not pay is rent. I pay out phone bills, I pay the car notes on my car, your car don't matter, I pay the utilities, I pay the Wi-Fi, I pay for the grocery, you know what I'm saying? I'm not paying for the place that I lay my head because in my mind, it's the man's job to, make the home or provide the home, and it would be my job to keep the home. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll pay for those bills, but I'm not paying for the place I lay my head. I'm not doing that because this 50-50 thing, do what you please, to each his own, but for me, it'll never be 50-50 because if we both, I'm going to use a for example, let's say we're married at this point, we both go to work, okay, I would be required, same amount of hours, I stand on my feet, because like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm self-employed. I stand on my feet, let's say 12 hours at a time. I get off work, I got to go pick up the kids. Then I'm gonna have to make sure the dinner's ready for not just me, but for kids and for me. I'm gonna need to make sure everybody's homework and stuff completed, get all their clothes together for school the next day, get his clothes together for work and stuff. Then on top of doing laundry, washing the dishes from the meal that I prepared, do all of this stuff and make sure I'm showered, shaved, in the bed with legs wide open.
Ready for him?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then by the 31st of every month, I gotta get my half of the rent together.
Yeah,
you got me messed up.
Yeah.
That's not 50%, because I'm doing more than my 50% at that point. Absolutely not. That's why I will not. You're laughing. I'm dead serious. That is a heel out.
I don't lie.
Men don't
It's
think about that.
shit. It's funny as hell, but it makes sense.
Men think more about the money,
Right.
thing than more as like, well, she is doing this. They think like, well, financially, I'm doing all this,
Right.
but
she's
but
providing
doing
more
all this
physically.
stuff.
Right. But and then again, like I was expressing with someone else that I had been dating in the past, and he was like, well, if you pick up these other bills, it's gonna amount the same as rent anyway. So if I'm picking up the
I was about to
car
bring that up
insurance
when you were
and stuff
done.
like it's literally, it's like amounting the same, value, but I'm not gonna pay for where I live.
So it's not more the money to you, it's more the
the
principle.
principle, absolutely.
Because you don't mind spending the exact amount,
Nope.
but you're not going to say I spent it on this. I can give you the same money.
Yeah, going back to what she said, us men, it's kind of required to take care of the household because, we support the household and eventually the woman's going to have the children to fill that household. So it just makes sense for us to keep the household going.
Right.
I'm going to speak from my experience. That's all I can speak from. I done been the one pay all the bills, and I done been the one to split the money, when I couldn't. We split back in the day. So I see both sides, but I understand if you're financially able to, then yeah, you can do that. That's your, once you reach that level. If you can't do it, then you can't do it.
D-Mark got that heat.